Welcome back to Lord TV, L3RD TV. Tonight, the morning, whatever time it is, we are going to be looking at a match preview for Real Madrid versus Leganes. Interesting matchup. Shouldn't be, but interesting nevertheless, with kind of how Real Madrid has been playing this season, and especially if we're looking at the last match in the Copa del Rey, 3-2, even though in the league we beat them 3-0. They're right now a relegation zone team, but like I said, you never really know this season. So it should be pretty clear, and we should win, but you never know. So let's get into it. So games after the international break are always pretty interesting, especially because Real Madrid has, a team full of internationals who typically start and play full 90s for their national sides. So kind of going into this one, I'm not too sure if we're going to see some rotations because the title race is so close and there's only 9 or 10 matches left. So every game matters. So I don't know if we're going to see some rotations. I think some rotations may be forced in the likes of like the Southern American players, because they tend to have a kind of quicker turnaround in the sense of they just played Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing. They typically play, and then going right into a match on Saturday. They may get some rest. The likes of Vinny, played full 90 in a brutal game against Argentina where Brazil got whomped. But I could see him potentially getting some rest, and maybe Rodrigo, because he only played a half in that match. He may end up starting this game, but I'll kind of give you a full breakdown of my starting 11 here, which once again is kind of tough to call with Ancelotti, but coming off of an international break. But I think we're probably going to get a strong 11 regardless, just because it's crunch time. We can't afford to drop any points at all at this stage, with us being 3 points behind Barcelona now that they have finally kind of caught up on games, if you will, now that everybody's played the same amount of games. So we'll see how this goes with the starting lineup. I'll give you my starting lineup, but kind of touching on Barcelona real quick, as it kind of came across my screen. Osasuna apparently filed, I guess, in a complaint, or filed some form of complaint against Barcelona, because apparently one of the players, I guess there's a rule, Inigo Martinez, I guess there's a rule that if you miss an international match or leave international duty, something along those lines. There's like a 5-day rule apparently. I don't know how true this is. I didn't really look into it. It just kind of popped up on my screen on Instagram as I would prior to me recording. So I didn't really look into it, but I thought that could be a potential talking point, because if that is the case and they do end up kind of going with the appeal and accepting the appeal or the complaint, then that would be technically 3 drop points for them, which then will put us level, because at the end of the day, us going into the match against them later in a couple of weeks here or whatnot. They have the head-to-head in goals. They scored. The goal difference for them is much larger than our goal difference. So even if we beat them, we would be tied. And if we were to end up tied on points, and both teams kind of won out, they would win the league. So if they end up this being drop points, and then either they drop points before or the game against us in some weeks' time, then that could be a huge slip up right then and there, and could lead to us clinching the title. So it's that close. But looking at all of Barcelona's matches, they probably won't drop any points. It's a game, they play Real Betis and Athletic Club. I think those are the only two games that they could potentially drop some points there. But I think kind of the form they're in, the form they've been in all season, I don't really see it. In all honesty, I kind of see them winning out. The only place that they could potentially drop points is against us when we play them in their stadium. So we'll see what happens with this appeal, and as a Real Madrid fan, of course, hopefully, it is true, and they drop some, they kind of get disqualified from that game or forfeit that match, if you will, and end up dropping 3 points right then and there, and then we'd be level on points, because right now they're 3 points ahead of us. So then we'd be level on points with kind of all to play for in that match. Come what is it? Is it April? It's April or May we play them. Towards the end of April or May we play them again. So for the second game in their stadium. So it's really interesting to see what's gonna happen with that. But if it ends up not being anything, and we kind of just have to win out regardless, like no matter what, we cannot drop any points, and kind of us starting the league back up, no more international duties for the rest of the season. So we gotta do what we gotta do and win out, and this is, every game is important. And the thing with La Liga is the players, like, it's been in our histories, it just seems like the players just don't care about La Liga. They feel so much superior to everyone they play that that's why we always concede a goal, and then all of a sudden we try to turn it on and go into that next gear, which we have to stay in that next gear for every game. La Liga, Copa del Rey, Champions League, it doesn't matter what the competition is and who the team we're facing in front of us. We need every point. We have to win the season out in every competition, because there's a treble within grasp. Obviously, the Champions League is typically Real Madrid's competition, but it is going to be tough. Even if we beat Arsenal, PSG's facing Aston Villa, they're probably going to win that. Then we got to face PSG, and then on the other side of the bracket, you could see most likely, I think there's kind of three teams that could, same thing, on our side of the bracket, but the strongest three teams are Inter, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich. So no matter who you have to play, obviously I'd say Inter's probably the weakest, out of those three. I think they're really well coached though, but no matter what, it's gonna be extremely tough winning the Champions League this year. So you have a lot of possibility with the Copa del Rey, and La Liga is really in your hand. So just need to win out completely, and then kind of take it from there. But first things first, we have Leganes, so we definitely need to win that game tomorrow, and well, it's technically 2 a.m. So when you doing that game today and later today, and see, just kind of take from there step by step. Play every game like it's a final. Like we have to play every game like it's a final, and really tap in to that kind of momentum and carry that momentum every game. But if we're looking at today's game against Leganes, I'm thinking we're going to get a really strong 11, like I said, just because of the scenario and situation with us being 3 points behind and needing a win. So starting 11, Courtois on goal, of course. This is where it gets a little tricky, the right back slot, because I could see Ancelotti just rolling out Lucas Vazquez and kind of saving Fede Valverde in that right back spot for those Champions League games, for those bigger games. Against Leganes, he's probably just gonna let Lucas Vazquez go ahead and get the start. Obviously he's fresh. He's been training for the past couple of weeks back in Spain, as he's not on international duty, so I could see him getting that nod. You got Raul Sensio next to him as right center back, Tony Rudiger, and obviously Ferland Mendy's hurt, so Fran Garcia is going to get that start naturally. Then in midfield, I think we're going to see a double pivot of Camavinga and Tchouaméni. Camavinga, didn't play so much in the last game against Croatia. Madrid played both those games, played a good amount. I think he played about 70 to 80 minutes in at least the second game. I think he played the full 90 in the first game. So kind of looking at that, I don't think Madrid is going to get the start there. I think it will be a Camavinga Tchouaméni double pivot, and then Jude will probably start. Fede Valverde. See, that's where things get interesting, is our midfield. So it really depends on kind of how Ancelotti views the return of the Southern American players. I would prefer, like, of the Rodrigo, Vinny, and Valverde. I would rather Valverde get the rest, because he doesn't get much rest this season. Typically in any season he doesn't rest a lot, but I would prefer to give him the rest in this one and go with a midfield trio of Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Jude. And I wouldn't even be mad at giving Jude some rest too, and rolling out Brahim or Arda or something like that. And then you kind of have Vinny. If we go with those three, then you got Vinny, Mbappe, and Rodrigo starting. I think Rodrigo will for sure start, just because, like I said, he didn't play the full 90 against Argentina, so he's going to be rested. Versus like Ibrahim, who played, Arda played a lot, but Arda doesn't have a lot of minutes, so it doesn't matter. He can get some good run time out there. But I think the starting 11 is going to be pretty strong, and we should win that game. I know the last game against them 3-2, shouldn't have been that, but it is what it is. But if we're looking at the previous game in La Liga, we did beat them 3-0, so we should handle business. Looking at a 3-1, 3-0, 4-1, like it should be a little schmacking, just to really get us in gear and really for this stretch of time, really push us forward in these closing moments. This is when Real Madrid typically wakes up, more so in the Champions League. We do tend to have actually lower point totals in the second half of the season in La Liga throughout history. So, which is kind of weird, but I think it's because we focus so much on the Champions League. But this is a year where the treble is right there. And we could go for, treble's right there every year, but I think we really have the squad for it. So we need to go for it. We need to lock it in, take care of Leganes, and then just go game by game, knocking these teams down as they appear in front of us, and take it. Like we there's an opportunity there. So we'll see how these games in La Liga play out. But like I said, I think it is going to be a pretty thorough and comfortable win. Hopefully, is kind of what I'm assuming just from history's takes against Leganes. But we'll see kind of how it plays out. But I'm looking forward to it. Back, international break is over, getting back into the season, and this final stretch is always very exciting. So let's handle business, handle some business, and go ahead and get Leganes out of the way. But I appreciate everybody watching, and I'll see you guys for a match review. Sayonara.